Hi everyone, hope you're all well. Welcome back to our channel, and in today's video we are diving into one of the more popular trends in web design, and that's dark mode. Dark mode isn't just a design choice, it's a user preference that's taking the digital world by storm. We'll explore the pros and cons of using dark mode in web design, weigh its impact on user experience, and dive into the practical steps for implementing it on your website. So whether you're a designer, developer, or simply curious about this sleek and stylish design trend, stay tuned for a deep dive into dark mode, the pros, cons, and implementation. So what is dark mode design? Dark mode web design is essentially a design approach that uses dark background with light colored text and other design elements. This is in contrast to the more traditional light mode design, which uses a light background with dark elements and text. Dark mode web design has become increasingly popular in recent years for a number of reasons. First, it can be more comfortable for users to look at, especially in low light. And second, it can help reduce battery usage in mobile devices. Third, it gives the website a more modern and sophisticated look. Dark mode web design can be a great way to improve the user experience of your website. And it can help you create a website that's both visually appealing and accessible to all users. So some key features of dark mode include a dark background, such as a black or a navy blue. This helps reduce eye strain and creates a more immersive experience for users. With the dark background comes light colored text and elements, and text and other design elements on dark mode websites are typically light colored, like white or gray. This helps ensure that they are still readable and accessible to all users. Dark mode websites often use high contrast colors to make text and other elements stand out from the background, and again, this helps readability and visual appeal. Gradients and shadows can be used to create depth and visual interest in dark mode websites. However, it's really important to use them carefully, as too much can make the website look cluttered. And white space. So white space is important for readability and visual appeal in both dark and light mode websites. However, it's especially important in dark mode because it can help the content stand out from the background a bit more. Dark mode web designs also often have the following features. They have a toggle switch that allows users to easily switch between dark and light mode. This is really important for accessibility and user preference as well. They also have system-wide dark mode support. So some dark mode designs support system-wide dark mode. This means that the website will automatically switch to dark mode if the user's device is in dark mode. And some dark mode web designs use dark mode specific images and icons, and this can help create a more cohesive and polished user experience. Overall, a dark mode web design is a design approach that can offer a number of benefits to users, including reduced eye strain, improved battery, and with a more immersive experience as well. So let's look at some examples of websites that do employ the dark mode method and design approach. So first up, we have YouTube. So right now, as you can see, my YouTube is in light mode, but if we come into the account settings here, we do have a section for appearance. Right now, the appearance is set to the device theme. So my system-wide device theme is set to light mode, but if we switch that onto dark mode, you can see that YouTube's dark mode is also really simple and effective. It has this background with white text, and this creates a more immersive viewing experience, especially if you're watching videos at night. It just means that you have the control and you have the access to toggle between light and dark mode, and creates a really simple experience as well. Next up, we have the ProfileTree website, and as you can see, the ProfileTree website is currently in dark mode, and this is obvious. So you can see that you have the navy background, but the text and the elements are all either white or there's a vivid green. It helps make the look of the website a bit more immersive, easier on the eyes, when you can also see that it still looks pretty modern, sleek, and stylish as well. And users can still be able to read the content, get to where they want to go. So it helps the user experience, but it also improves the style of it as well. You can see in this site it works well because we're using high contrast colors and fonts to make sure that the text and other elements are still readable in dark mode. And there's lots of also white space as well to make the content sort of stand out in the background. So there's a number of ways to implement dark mode in your web development. One way is to use CSS and this allows CSS media queries allows you to style your website differently based on the user's device. To implement dark mode using CSS, you would need to create 2 separate CSS files, one for light mode, one for dark mode. And then you would need to add the following media query to the top of your dark mode file. So this tells the browser to use the dark mode CSS file if the user's device is in dark mode. Another way to implement dark mode is to use the JavaScript library. There are a number of JavaScript libraries available like Dark Reader and Night Mode, and these libraries can make it easier to implement dark mode on your website because they provide a number of features like the ability to toggle between light and dark mode, support for system-wide dark mode, and to implement a dark mode using a JavaScript library, you will need to first include the library in your website's HTML code. Then you need to initialize the library and call the appropriate functions to toggle between light and dark mode. Whichever method that you choose, it's really important to test your dark mode thoroughly and make sure that it's working as expected. You should also make sure that your dark mode design is accessible, including those with visual impairments. Here are some additional tips for implementing dark mode on your design. First up, you want to make sure that you use high contrast colors and fonts. Make sure that the text and other design elements are readable in dark mode by using high contrast colors and fonts. A good rule of thumb is to use a contrast ratio of at least 4 or 5 to 1. You want to use accessible color palettes and fonts, so make sure that your dark mode website is accessible to users with visual impairments by using the color palettes and fonts. You can use tools like WebAIM Color Contrast Checker to test your color combinations. And you want to use gradients and shadows to create depth and a visual interest in dark mode websites. Be careful not to overuse them though, as they can make your website look cluttered. Use whitespace to make your content stand out. Whitespace is really important for readability and visual appeal in both dark and light mode websites. However, it's important in dark mode as it can help your content stand out from the background. Test your dark mode thoroughly. Once you've designed your dark mode website, make sure that it's readable, accessible, and visually appealing. By following these tips, you can implement dark mode in your web development and create a more user-friendly and accessible experience for users. So as mentioned before, accessibility is key when it comes to dark mode, as it's really important that you get the color combinations right, the grading right, and the white space. So here are some accessibility platforms that you can use to test your website to make sure that it is accessible as much as possible for all users coming onto your website. What is website accessibility? Website accessibility refers to the practice of designing and developing websites that can be used by everyone, including people with disabilities. It means creating websites that are designed with accessibility in mind so that people with disabilities can access and use the content and functionality of the website. This includes people with visual, auditory, physical, and cognitive disabilities as well. It's important for users because it ensures that all individuals, regardless of abilities or disabilities, they can access your website and use it effectively. Here are some ways in which website accessibility can affect users. Website accessibility ensures that people with disabilities are not excluded from the information, products, and services provided by websites. It includes people with visual, auditory, motor, and cognitive impairments. Accessible websites are easier to use for everyone, not just people with disabilities. For example, having clear and concise headings, labels, and instructions can help all users navigate a website more easily. When websites are accessible, people with disabilities can engage more fully with the content, products, and services provided. This can lead to an increased satisfaction and loyalty amongst these users as well. In a lot of countries, including the United States, websites must comply with accessibility laws, and failure to do so can result in legal action as well. So here are some website accessibility best practices. The first one is providing text alternatives. So providing text alternatives is really important as it ensures that people who are unable to see images or videos or other non-text content on a website can still access the information provided. And this can include things like alt text, so alternative text, and that's just a brief description of an image that is read by screen readers or other assistive technologies. Caption and transcripts, so video and audio content should be accompanied by captions and transcripts respectively. Captions provide a text version of the spoken content while transcripts provide a written version of the entire audio or video. And links as well should be descriptive and clearly indicate the content of the web page that they're leading to. For example, instead of using words like click here, a link should say something like download our brochure, so that once they click on it, it'll actually download the brochure. By providing text alternatives, website owners can ensure that all users can access the information provided on the website regardless. Semantic markup is a way of writing HTML that provides meaning and context to the content on a web page. It involves using HTML elements that accurately describe the purpose and structure of the content rather than just formatting the content for display purposes. Some benefits of using semantic markup include making websites more accessible for people with disabilities. Search engines use semantic markup to understand the content of a web page and rank it in search engines. By using semantic markup, website owners can improve their website's SEO and increase their visibility in search engines. And semantic markup provides a consistent structure to the content on a web page, which can make it easier to maintain and update over time. It also helps ensure that the content is displayed correctly on different browsers and devices. Some examples of semantic markup include heading elements, H1, H2, H3, list elements like UL and OL. Keyboard navigation is a method of navigating a website using only the keyboard without the need of a mouse or other pointing device. Keyboard navigation is an important aspect of website accessibility because it ensures that people with disabilities that affect their ability to use a mouse or other pointing devices can still navigate the website effectively. Some best practices for keyboard navigation include making sure that the logical tab order. When a user presses the tab key to move between different elements on the web page, it should focus moving in a logical way that follows the visual layout of the page, and this ensures that users can navigate the website efficiently and predictably as well. Keyboard shortcuts can help users quickly access frequently used features or functions on a website. However, it's really important to ensure that the shortcuts are easy to remember and don't conflict with other keyboard shortcuts on the user's computer. When an element has focus, it should be visually indicated on the web page so that users can see where they are in the navigation process, and this can be done through CSS styling, such as border or outline around the focused element. And it's important to test keyboard navigation on a website to ensure that it's easy to use and works correctly, and this can be done by using keyboard-only navigation testing tools or by conducting user testing with people who use assistive technologies. Color contrast is an important aspect of website accessibility, and it affects how easily users can read text and distinguish different elements on a web page. It's important to ensure that there is enough contrast between the text and the background color so that it's easy to read, especially for users with visual impairments. And lastly, using clear and simple language is also a really important aspect of website accessibility. This can help ensure that all users can understand the content on a web page, and especially important for users with cognitive or learning disabilities, as well as users who are not fluent in the language used on the website. Plain language involves using simple words and sentences structures to convey information, and it's important to avoid jargon, technical terms, or complex sentence structure that can be difficult for some users to understand. By using clear and simple language, website owners can ensure that all users can understand the content on the website and access the information that they need. So once you have some basic understanding of what best practices are for your website accessibility, there are some tools out there that can help you analyze your website and make sure that it is actually accessible for users to use. First up, you have the Wave Web Accessibility Evaluation Tool. And the Wave Web Accessibility Evaluation Tool is a free online tool provided by WebAIM, and allows you to enter the URL of your website and generates a detailed accessibility report. The Wave tool highlights potential accessibility issues on your website, like missing alternative text for images, color contrast problems, improper heading structure, and lots more. It provides visual indicators and explanations to help you understand and address the accessibility concern. So the way it works is you just navigate to the website and you just want to type in the website URL. And then you just want to click on the arrow to continue analyzing. And it'll essentially load your website and give you a list of errors, if there are any, and some improvements as well that you can make as well. If you click on the view details, you can see everything that you're doing correct, everything that you're not doing correct, and just from there you want to improve on anything that they're marking as an error, and an alert as well. By using the Wave tool, you can identify areas of improvement and take steps to make your website more accessible to a wider range of users. It's a valuable resource for both developers and website owners who are looking to enhance the accessibility of their web content. Next up, you have the A-Checker accessibility tool. So A-Checker is a web accessibility evaluation tool that allows you to assess the accessibility of your web pages. Similar to the Wave tool, you can either enter the URL of your website or upload HTML files for evaluation. The tool checks your website content against various accessibility standards, like the laid out in the WCAG, so the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. And then it also provides a detailed report highlighting accessibility issues like missing alternative text, improper heading structure, color contrast problems, and lots more. It also provides suggestions and guidelines on how to address the identified issues as well. So similar to how Wave tool works, you just want to type in the name of the URL that you want to scan, or you can upload the HTML files as well. And then you just want to click on Check It. And the A-Checker tool will then run a report where you can see any kind of errors that may come up. So you can see down here, there is a accessibility errors listed below. And you can just essentially go through this review and it'll show you exactly line by line, exactly where the missing text or where the errors are. And it'll show you what the actual reason is as well. So for example, create content that can be presented in a different way. Make it easier for users to see and hear content, including separating foreground from the background, essentially, and things like that. And it gives you suggestions as well. So it's a little bit more practical than the Wave tool because it gives you actual practical solutions, but both tools are really handy to use as well to check your site for accessibility issues. So now let's go over some websites that incorporate good accessibility values on their website. One example of a website with good accessibility is the BBC website. The BBC has made significant efforts to make their website accessible to all users, including those with a disability. Some of the features that they have are the clear and simple language. So like clear and simple sentence structure to make their content easy to understand for all users. They have good color contrast. So most of the text is in black on the white background as well, making it really easy to read. There is also keyboard navigation being used using the tab. So that's really important for users who have difficulty using a mouse. There are also text alternatives as well to images for those using screen readers or other assistive technologies. Images as well are captioned appropriately. Videos are also captioned appropriately as well, making it really easy for those who are deaf or hard of hearing. Overall, BBC website serves as an excellent example of how website accessibility can be achieved through a variety of features and best practices. Another example of a website with good accessibility is the gov.uk website. So the UK government website has made a really strong commitment to ensuring that their website is accessible to all users, including those with disabilities. Some of the accessibility features include clear and simple language, good color contrast as well, so similar to the BBC website. They also incorporate the tab keyboard navigation as well, making it really easy to explore the website for people who maybe have difficulties using a pointing device. The website does have text alternatives for any images used, and they also have a focus on accessibility testing as well. So the UK government has a dedicated team of accessibility experts who test the website for accessibility issues and work to resolve them as well. So overall, the gov.uk website is an excellent example of how website accessibilities can be achieved through a combination of accessibility features as well. So let's talk about some advantages of using dark mode. The main one being reduced eye strain. So dark mode can be easier on the eyes, especially in low light environments. This is because the bright white background of traditional light mode can be harsh and fatiguing. Dark mode can help improve battery life on mobile devices. This is because dark pixels require less power to display than light pixels. Dark mode can create more immersive experience for users, especially when using websites with rich visuals or video content. And dark mode gives websites a more modern and sophisticated look as well. Overall, dark mode is very versatile. It can be beneficial for users with certain vision impairments like light sensitivity. There's a number of benefits that it offers to users. But with that, there are some drawbacks. In some cases, text and other elements can be more difficult to read, especially if the contrast between the text and background is not high enough. This can be a problem with users with visual impairments or for users who are reading long passages of text. Some dark mode implementations may not be accessible to users with disabilities. So for example, with low vision, you may have difficulty reading text on a dark background, and users who are colorblind may have difficulty distinguishing between elements of a dark mode interface. Dark mode can make it difficult to see the screen in bright environments like outdoors or sunny day, and this can be a problem for users who need to use their devices in a variety of environments. And some studies have shown that dark mode can have a negative effect on mood, especially when using for extended periods of time. This is because the lack of light can trigger the production of melatonin, a hormone that regulates sleep. Overall, the dark mode drawbacks are relatively minor, and the benefits generally outweigh the risks. It's important to be aware of these potential drawbacks, but as we've mentioned before, if you use some of the accessibility platforms, it shouldn't mitigate most of these problems, including the readability issues and accessibility issues. And that's a wrap for today's video on the impact of dark mode, pros, cons, and how to implement. I hope you find this video useful. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated on all things tech, design, and innovation, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Feel free to leave your thoughts, questions, or any topics you'd like us to cover in the comments below. And until next time, keep designing, keep developing, and keep innovating. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.